The problem is, yes, it gives you all the answers, but it also gives you all the
Hello,
non-answers.
America. Hello,
You have to
rest
now
of the
sift
world.
through the answers, right? You have to sift through the outputs to say what
We'll
are
look
the
at a
correct
few
answers.
Zillow
But each
listings
examination
right
is
now,
going to incur
looking
its own
at
information
this.
cost, right? So you don't get this for free. Furthermore, the ratio
Guy
of
arguing
gibberish
about
to
AI
knowledge gibberish is just way too low.
hype,
It's swamped by all the
debunking
non-answers.
the AI.
Okay. So you may say, well, yeah, but what if you also output in? We could produce something like John will run.
My 2 cents
and
on
might
this, it
also-
looks
I'm
like
not trying to
a lot of it is about,
They could present it with logic problems and it would solve.
about text and how
However,
much you
when
can
you
get,
change
how far you can go
distribution of
with
how you
text.
solve the problem, the systems would
We'll get to the Zillow listings here in a
It's
second.
very strange because if you
I
know
think
how to
the
use deductive
next
logic,
breakthrough,
it shouldn't matter how I choose the problems I give you. If I got them from a textbook or if I got them from a friend or from the internet, right? It's the same set of rules applies to the problem.
that is going to be
If, however,
monumental.
you're
The
doing this
next
based on pattern matching,
ChatGPT
perfect
moment,
sense that the distribution would matter, right?
where we're going from
What they
something
found was that
that is barely usable to super usable is going to be in these Markov decision processes. Sounds a little more complicated than it is, but if you break it down piece by piece, you are an agent, you have an action, and at the end of that environment, there's a reward and there's a penalty. And the way to really wrap your head around it is to think about it like you have the reward of $1. There's $1 100 miles away. That is a reward, but the short-term gain versus the long-term gain, and there's a mathematical way to give that value of what you should be doing now and then what the policy should be for every state that you're in. And you can think of a state like when a game of checkers or chess starts out and all the pieces are in that one position, that's a state. And when it comes to chess, the position of all the different pieces, there are more possible positions than there are atoms in the universe when it comes to chess. But AI systems playing chess have learned enough about those positions, those states, those configurations to now be the best. And so they're going to start doing this with more and more of the world. And then when you get a model, all your models have the chain of thought reasoning, and that is doing a form of this learning. So where am I going with this? What's the point? How is this ever going to break out of text and bring us something much bigger, earth-shattering, much better? Well, you may have seen that Dance 2 from ByteDance, these new videos are becoming very lifelike, indistinguishable, especially if you showed this to someone 5 years ago, or maybe someone who hasn't seen AI videos. You're not really detecting any AI artifacts. And the point of this would be that although this is still just a prompt and these are pixels created by videos, whatever the system is, diffusion model, transformers, the point is that this is creating a world. And maybe I could find the other instance of seeing let me see if I could find it. AI camera, change angle. Here we go, this thing where you have a 2D frame and then you're just moving the position. And so all of these just from the 2D. It's able to infer and fill out everything else. So what this has to do with an agent that is able to do some state action reward, next state action reward, is that just like a game, maybe I could find a good example. This is the most generic type of AI game you learn about. So here's the reward, this is the penalty. You start here, and eventually you learn a policy, going backwards from these rewards. So tying it all together, maybe I'm making the case that you're going to have competing agents. You're going to have one agent in this world, another agent in that same world. They're going to be doing their simulations. What's going to be the limit? I mean, how many Claude bots do we have alone? And Claude bots are not cheap. You have to have a Mac Mini, which is not easy to find. You have to pay for a lot of tokens, which is cheap. And there's still, how many total Claude bots are there? So how many agents are there going to be in virtual worlds? But those were just my thoughts, my 2 cents putting out there as we see that AI is maybe hitting a plateau. But maybe there will be another big leap forward. But that's where I would guess something else could emerge. Wow, look at the depth in that. Beautiful. The most beautiful anime out of Japan. Just look at the nuance and the, like, you can't call it slop, the beauty of this homemade thing. That word that starts with a B in this wheelchair, how they could make that look good. So let's get on to the houses. This is a housing Zillow stream, looking at a house in Hawaii again, seeing how they call it, the other half lives. So we can envy how they're living, or just also point out the bad mistakes they made and be right and feel good about it. Okay. So, speaking of AI, we have our AI assistant on the screen, Kiru. So able to just click a button. The prompt is that if I ask a question, answer the question. If there is no question, just go through some of the interior. Give us the technical name for what we're looking at, whether it's a piece of furniture or something like what type of roof it is. And different prompt for whatever your purpose might be. But we'll see if it has anything to say. I don't know that there's any technical information that needs to be extracted or, conveyed. It says the exterior is a hardy board siding. Is that true? Durable, fire resistant? Yeah. We've seen this. You've seen this kind of siding. You can see that anywhere. And it is up here, able to read the address, which is in the URL up here. So maybe a little tidbit: popular retreat for Hawaiian royalty, sought after area. Yeah, I would think a lot of Hawaii might be sought after. They're really dedicating a lot of the yard to cars. So I don't know. Maybe I'd prefer a little more yard or leisure time outside. Just seeing what the AI thinks about it. Tongue and groove wood ceiling. Balustrade or railing. Balustrade. 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 Yeah, banister, balustrade. All right. What else could you do here except put a dining room table? Little bit of an odd space. I always am a little puzzled when a space is not used well and start imagining other furniture they could place or what else they could have done. There are these retractable window walls like this. So I wonder if you can instead, maybe if you're not going to use the space well, if you're just going to put a table out here just to put a table out here, why don't we just make this living room or just make this actual room and part of the house and put some of those collapsing window walls here instead? Because the fact that it's outside and this is exposed like a deck means you can't really live in here like it's an internal part of your house. But then if you can't use it as a deck, that's not good either. Oh, looks very new. Looks good. What else can you say? Open plan, park bench. Not exactly what I want in a $2.1 million house. A park bench type of design. More deck. And still no yard Maybe that's a choice just for maintenance. But if I was here, I would just let this go wild. Let a lot of edges of the property go wild. And downstairs too, they're dedicating a lot of the potential floor space of indoor home rooms to these decks and patios, which don't really work. They don't really feel like they have a good relationship to the outside. They don't look fun. They don't feel fun to be in. And we're back inside. So this kitchen really extends more out that way. A little bit away from the action here. Refrigerator, sink, oven. So odd planning a little bit. When was this built? I have to go back to the listing. Wow, very new. Built in 2025. So maybe this was a tear down. And I'm curious to look at property tax. $490, is that monthly? Not bad. $6,000 for a $2 million house. Waiting for Zillow to load. Yeah, definitely. Can you feel it? Can you feel there's something going on with the use of space in these rooms? It's like when they make these mistakes, when that upstairs deck and the downstairs patio and then the yard, there's just something disharmonious and a bad use of space, and you feel it coming around here. Why is this here? What could this be instead? Could this have been the dining area? What is this corner in the room? Now we have that lonely picnic table, park bench out there instead. So not sure you can get your giant screen. If I have $2 million to spend on a home, I'm definitely going to have the 100-inch TV. So I guess it could go there, but it seems like it's blocking windows and odd use of space everywhere. So they must have furnished this. If they built it in 2015, it couldn't have had an owner. But another odd use of space, waste of space. So much space back there behind this couch. And this room is going to be very large. Second floor. Oh. What a long kitchen. Are we still in the kitchen here? And look how far back that goes. More space here. Hard to tell where that is. So we're here. Let me point it out on the map. Sometimes Zillow has these. So we're here looking this way. Living room was down there. Kitchen. And this feels like space wasted back here. We'll have to unfortunately this doesn't point that way. It's hard to tell what that's a picture of. What is this text here? So a lot of space used in strange ways, right? There's something about Hawaii that always has these hotel heaters and air conditioners up on the ceiling. Is that to conserve energy, or energy utility costs really high out there? Maybe the AI will tell us some technical things. Go to Kiru about that. Sink or lighting fixtures, maybe. It's calling this a double hung window. Double vanity. Quartz or granite. Okay. That's unusual, not necessary. Why not make it all these tiles? I mean, choose one, and the white is the better option. Why add something and complicate it when it doesn't need to be complicated? And the floor is yet another tile. This looks like the sliding door really collapses. Like it doesn't just go into like two. It doesn't go into half. It seems like it goes down to 1/3 of its width, which that's good. More room to swing your arms around in there. Back in the kitchen. I'm not just being overly sensitive. I find it is jarring, the word, when the images don't go from room to room. One shot in one room, change the angle in another room, and then don't come back to the room. But so this is a second kitchen on the first floor. So maybe this is made to be an apartment building. A lot of ceiling. Let me ask the AI about that. Look at all the ceiling in this room, and this is the first floor. So how do they even support a open plan like this on the first floor with no support beam? There's nothing like a vaulted ceiling to keep the structure How do you think they build something like this? And get that out of the way so the AI can see it. Beam post, slab or beam post style. They must have used some kind of steel beams. All right, they went with all one tile in this bathroom. Back on the second floor again. You see how it doesn't flow? We were on the first floor, second floor, first floor, second floor, and it jumps. The jumpiness. We're not flowing from room to room. We're disoriented, going from photo to photo. Just looking on the channel of my own. Maybe there's a. Just in case might be a chat. I'll try to look out for those. But how do you feel about this place? I don't like it. I mean, I would give a lot to have a home out here in Hawaii off the not far from the beach, but there's something uneasy about this. It feels like, what does it feel like? It feels uneasy. Beam molding hanging off the edge. The whole thing feels like the layout of a feed store, of a farming and feed store, landscaping store. It's kind of like they had more space in mind than they thought they had. Does that make sense? We saw that one already. Kind of like the placement of the entrance of the self-checkout machines at Walmart. Just boxy, just there because it needs to be, and in a way that creates odd spacing that disrupts the flow. Of walking around and using the space and being in the space. So very you might say computer designed, bird's eye view designed. But that's okay. Just nitpicking the lack of care and consideration to the space. Of course, it's still a brilliant, beautiful home, beautiful space, beautiful place to live. And I want to get out of Hawaii. Let's look at... I saw this video of people complaining about the price of homes in Aspen, Colorado. So maybe we could search over there. Have you been through Colorado? Wow, everything has an M. And most everything's 2 digits, 15, 6, 13. What's this one? A little bit off the path for 13 million. Decent size, double the size of a, 3-bedroom. This guy here is about 4,000 square feet. Looks like a new build. A lot to look at here, a lot going on. More than just right angles happening. And since it's new here, I also have in the prompt for it to give us an anecdote about the area. And it's going to see the URL there in the address in the URL, I should say. So what does it have to say about that? Says it's a salt box roof. Aspen was a former mining town and was popular with outlaws, including Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, who hid out, who were real people. Have you seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? I believe. Well, I know Robert Redford, but was Paul Newman also in that? Named after the Sundance Film Festival that Robert Redford made. Great Western, great movie. Come on, Zillow. Okay, coming in. I guess this is the foyer. What's the AI have to say about this? So, another thing about Aspen, in 1879, there was a discovery of gold that led to a rapid influx of settlers. And now it's a destination for the super rich, obviously, from the price of these homes. Nice stucco, interesting material. Almost looks like bamboo in the ceiling. These are Clerestory windows. Clerestory windows, it says. And they are unique windows, things you don't see every day. Maybe we could get a better look at a Clerestory window. It almost looks like something that you get from a split level. But maybe it was answering a previous. It might have been looking at a different image. No, these are not clerestory windows. These are just some frosted glass windows. And these things here in this entrance, they are interesting. They're unique. I don't really know if they work together. Was this an addition that came after? Not really feeling the harmony between all these materials. What does the AI think of this? Freestanding wood burning stove, metal chimney. Kiru AI, by the way, available when you search for Kiru AI at Stratamus, the company stratamus.com, today's sponsor. Whatever these lights, or maybe they're not even lights, fixtures, not really hung there with care. I am a fan of lighting made out of paper like this, and then to have it mimicking your furniture. But this is not serious, whatever they did, hanging it off the balcony like that. But good theme, good feelings coming from the stucco and the wood. The wood built in here into the shelving. We have interesting angles happening. Bamboo. I knew that was bamboo in the ceiling. Now it's more obvious here on the side. A little bit of an open plan kitchen. So granite countertop. Beautiful, bigger than it looks once you get the shot inside. Very cozy sink, has that counter cutout. It's not that the countertop is consistent and then they just put a hole in the countertop. They've actually omitted, shaved off this part of the countertop, made it a little lower, give you more access to the sink. And then with this stone, whatever, I think this is stone, whatever this is here. Really nice. You just want to walk up to it and feel the material of the stone and feel the curve there. More bamboo. The bamboo theme is continuing. I wonder what's behind this door. Viking range Let's see if the AI will tell us the brand of the stove. Wolf, high-end stainless steel red knobs oven, restaurant grade. I think it says Wolf down there. Good consistency, the hood, the oven, the fridge, even the dish machine. That's crazy. First sign of craziness by the owner to put this stone table in here next to their other table. How much better would nothing look right here instead of this extra table? Just taking it in. Are you feeling like you're taken away? I know like I've said before, maybe streaming, or the reason that people watch streamers play video games is that you're watching a space. It's not a vacation, but you are you're experiencing going through another space. And that's why I'm doing this, just taking in this space. Imagining being there, feeling what it's like to be in here. Does this look better than where you're at right now? Okay, having this unusual shape. This is a bit like the architect Gaudi doing plaster work like this, or something you'd see in Mexico. I guess you can have your plants up here or something else on this ledge. Does the AI have any 2 cents to add? Stucco, textured. No, nothing to say about that wall, but more about Aspen, that the buildings downtown are still from that 1800s era of the gold and silver, gold fever, gold rush. Then there's an Aspen Historical Society that'll bring you on a tour to the mines, old mines. Nice. Interesting. I wonder how you clean this. Feels a little hazardous to be up here cleaning this. But good use of tiling, stone. You notice they don't take half the stone and then do crazy, totally different tiling for the top half of the shower for no reason, just to be different. This tile is perfectly in dialogue with the stucco and the wood throughout the home. And first time we've seen a circle for a window, but it works because it feels a little more private when you're there in the shower, a little more exposed than you usually are. You can, peer around or peer through a window like this a little more comfortably than you can, though it is a big window, but than you can with something like this. Beautiful ceilings. Let me ask the AI, what kind of wood panels do you think those are on the ceiling? And what is this type of wood on the ceiling called? Maybe we'll get an answer. Hardwood, 6 panels. For the ceiling itself to be wood like that, in those large sections of wood, what is this called? What do you think is above it? Are they using this instead of drywall? Cathedral ceiling, yeah. A little bit. Nice. What a deep tub. Oh, we're not going to see the tub. Wonder what there is to say about this floor. What is this floor? What kind of floor is this? Is this concrete that they painted? What do you think that is? Or maybe it's some kind of material. Have you seen anything like this? Polished concrete, chemical treated. Okay. Is this another bathtub? Looks like a barrel. That might be the only thing that's like a callback or connection to the mining town or the 1800 mountain town 1800s mining guy. This is something you might have seen, you know what I mean, back then. People using barrels as tubs. If that's what it is, I'm not sure we're going to get a better look at it. Nice. Tibetan, Buddhist, whatever these are called. Maybe the AI can tell us what these are called. Prayer flags, lungta or wind flags. Yeah. Beautiful, amazing, incredible. Not incredible, but only this one black stone table is the only offense. And these would be the Celesta something, Celastory, Claristory windows up here. You want to know my theory about rich people having super high ceilings? When you go into when you see a rich person's house, I think there's a theme with that. Not only the big doors, like for example, I don't want to go down this can of worms of Epstein, but these big doors, very large doors, rich people usually have. I mean, look at it. Look at the human next to the size of these doors. So you have big doors, you have big ceilings. What do the cars look like? Their cars look like Hot Wheels cars, like toys. You know, like a toy thing, big everything. And then I'm just looking up rich people clothing styles 2026. Do men's fashion. And it's the other thing about rich people, not necessarily hating them per se. I mean, we happen to live in a society where the government and the banks and the oligarchs don't care about us, and they just take money and print more money and give it to rich people. But there's something about rich people's clothes in this era that we're in. It's not like in previous eras when we had, you know, Carnegie's, was Carnegie Steel or the Railroad, whatever the railroad family, they dressed more like, I don't know, let me pull up more. Robber Baron's early 20th century, they dressed a little more serious. This is as serious as it gets with Rockefellers, Ford. These are not play clothes. These are serious clothes. These are not silly, outlandish clothes. I mean, this is silly. Look at this. What do you call that? Lapel? I probably need to search for something else. I wouldn't know. I feel like a lot of rich people have gotten off of social media, but point is, it's a little bit like dress up. It's a little bit like costume. It's a little bit like when the first grader wants to wear the clothes to school or out to eat, and it's just a little too much, and the parents are almost reluctant to let them go out like that. So point is, they're like kids. There's something about being rich these days where it's the goal to be turned into a toddler. So then you have the big door again. Then you have the big ceiling again, just like you did when you were a kid. The play clothes, the play cars. So something very, really unreal about that, which I'm not tying into some communist manifesto or anything, or even hate about it, but it says something. Maybe that says something about the class of people who reach that level or are born at that level, who they really feel like they are. Okay, just more random pictures, throwaway pictures. They could have had this next to the other picture early on, just starting to look at that house. This is where that paper light fixture I was talking about is hanging. It wouldn't take more than 60 seconds to put these photos in order before you upload them. So where do you want to look? Where should we look next? Any ideas in the chat? Anybody? Okay, maybe something else in Aspen. Let's try to get like right through it and feel the experience of the home more and not get sidetracked. That's an interesting contrast between the front of the home, and this must be access through some back alley, but this seems like a home. $19 million, 3,700 square feet, and this looks like the type of home you'd find in the South or the Midwest that even today would be something like $100,000 in certain towns. Wonder if Aspen has its own airport. Text mode. Let's see text mode. Does Aspen have its own airport? Aspen Pitkin County Airport, 3 miles northwest of downtown. Wonder how they manage that in the mountains. Oh, so they have major airlines servicing this town. If you've driven through from Aspen out the state to Utah, very mountainous. How did they build this with the mountainousness? The mountains, in other words. Was a lot of earth moving involved? What year was it built? 1958. A large amount of earth moving was involved, situated in a valley, and it had to be altered, blasting, grade filling, embankments, and it's undergone expansions. Interesting. So you can get right in there to your $19 million home. And I just want to see what year this was built. Wow. Built in 1888. I wonder how much of that 1888 construction remains. Very homey, really right up against the sidewalk, the street, and this looks like a totally, probably more than the square footage of whatever this original home was back there in the addition, in the backyard. Nice ski slopes, it looks like, back there. All right, back view through the alley. This is a nice patio. Remember 2 houses ago in Hawaii, your outdoor patio was like ceiling right on top of you. Although you might feel a little bit exposed out here. And even with these windows, at least you are, look at this, mountains back there. At least you're like open to that mountainside when you're living, as aside from the home we saw in Hawaii, that home, that area, ocean, mountains. You really didn't see it inside that home, but making the home open and making the home in nice relation with the outside things around it. Is that a hot tub up there? Very nice. So maybe room for one car here, one car here. Of course, for $19 million, kitchen is going to be pretty much perfect. I'm a little, I think I might miss the cabinets a little bit. I think all my spices and cereal and stuff up here would clutter the place. So you're doing your thing here. You're combining ingredients, and kind of feels like the only place to go for your dry ingredients, the cereal, the spices, the salt, the vinegar. Is this the only spot for it? But at least it looks good. And we'll see what the AI says. Get out of text mode. Kiru says about the kitchen that it's able to see that window above the sink, vaulted ceiling with a sloped roof for sure. Floor, it says maybe oak, maybe hardwood. Ceiling is an exposed beam. I like a exposed steel beam in my ceiling. Makes me feel strong, protected. You know what I mean? Pendant lights, it says. This is telling me all this stuff I wouldn't know, because I have my opinions, but I don't know the construction or the design or the interior decorator terms for all of these things. So, sink is a farmhouse style. Yeah. Appliances built in. Island has a waterfall edge. Oh, that's what they call that, waterfall edge down there. Why not? Why not call it a waterfall edge? Countertops are quartz or granite. Cabinets are shaker style. What does that really mean, shaker style? You don't need to see this on screen. I'm reading it so you can look at the picture instead, if that's what you're into. Cabinets, shaker style. What is shaker? What is shaker about them? I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't have a limit in how they're taking pictures. Like, what I'd like to see from Zillow is like 3 shots in one room each, one corner, one corner, one corner. And if you need like a fourth corner, a fourth shot in the home, just to showcase something like this one does. That's starting at 4, but there should be more. Does Zillow charge by the photo? But you don't often see that, because I like to get the feel, which I think you might like to, the viewer, to get a real sense of what it feels like to be in the home. Oh, so fireplace down there. I like the room for the bigger TV, because I'm going to be putting a gigantic, biggest TV as you can get. One of the great joys or benefits of being alive today. The TVs are getting cheaper and bigger and better. So this is in that front part of the home, built in 1888. What is this material? Oh, what is the AI? What does Kiru think that material is? Huh. So it thinks this might be stone. I don't know. That might even be a wallpaper. But really good to have these wood patterns in whatever this is, whether this is stone, whether it's wallpaper, real or fake material. You just get the feeling, even though looking at it consciously, you know this is not natural wood. You know wood, you know you don't cut a piece of wood sideways like this and put it into a wall. You just feel like it is giving you wood vibes, dare I say vibes. So it is it's connecting to the outside, the very woodsy mountain area, and giving you a lodge not a ski lodge, but log cabin type of lodge feel. Wonder how everything's $19 million here. Can they not build outward and expand the city? This seems like a totally separate building to the new addition. So they have this original old house. This is a kitchen, it looks like, with no oven, but able to do some entertaining, useful for a party through there. And hard to know where we are now. Are we still in the front building or the back building? This reoccurring beam and these vaulted ceilings. It's good to stay on a theme, to choose a theme, to have a bold kind of, statement in the ceiling and stick with it. And the light up there too, to always be drawing attention to it. It's a little bit much. Like when you have a very old small house with that vaulted roof, vaulted ceiling, do you want to keep it all in one theme, or do you want to sprinkle these very modern statements into it? I don't think you need that. I feel like it's just a little bit of a flex, showing off your 7 figures, the 7-figure value of the home. Okay, now I see what's going on. They have this connection, the new house back here. Or maybe this is the new house, this is the old house. Putting this connection in there. If they extended this fully, that might be a little strange. So I just don't know if I like this black. I don't know if I like this very modern statement put on this home. Maybe they could have kept it white. Maybe they could have changed the roof, I mean. But square window here. I keep coming back to these. I keep seeing areas where these would work. where these are areas where you could put these. You know what I mean? Am I wrong? Am I wrong for feeling like these can resolve a lot of issues? You see, I know why they did it. Oh, why they put this here. But then again, you could have made this hallway a room. I just see more cases where they could have made something a room that wasn't a room. I don't think we've seen a good shot of it, but this is like all hallway. They can't have the hallway be all this material because that would look a little too weird, wonky, extended. So they put this modernist style in here just to show off that they are hip, that they are rich. But if they made this a little wider, made it as a hallway, an actual functioning room, and then put this collapsing accordion style window wall there, then they could also have their use of their middle yard that they're going for here with the grass, right? They didn't even need this area. And I just don't like it. I don't feel, I'm not, it gives me an uneasy feel. You could even get rid of this door, get rid of maybe one of these doors at least, and do that collapsing accordion style window wall in there. You know what I mean? So seems like hard to know what direction. Zillow's being really slow, so I don't really want to exit this and get back in just to see what area faces north or south. But it seems like we're getting sunlight in there into that small yard. Good bedroom, yeah. So this is that upstairs, and this is that mountain view. Not really taking in the mountain view like it looked like it was from the outside. There was that outside shot looking down into this area, and you're not really getting as much of a view as you might have hoped. A lot of tree blocking, neighbors' houses blocking it. But even still, it's not bad. Beautiful. How do you say it? Let me ask the AI. What is it called when you have a reoccurring theme motif in a home that you keep repeating in different ways? Is there a word for that, or is the word just motif or repeating theme? But to have that, that roof, you're seeing this theme over and over again, and then to have it, it's like they got something right. Something was done right here. And owning it, living by it, living among it, getting in here to go to bed, it's like you just feel aligned. You just feel like something about the design is like pressing your shoulders, like your broad shoulders are as broad as they can be, and the design is, maybe that's a little too autistic of a description, but maybe you know what I mean. Not autistic in the pejorative. I mean, like autistic people, I've heard that they like to feel like they're being hugged. They do it with livestock too. Yeah, it says the term I'm looking for is motif. So already knew that. Just a reoccurring theme. Creates a sense of cohesion, repeating. They're repeating it, but it's not exactly shown in this way before. Like it's a new variation on the repeating theme. There's no beam in this room, but even still, we're calling attention to that roof design, that small building room with small vaulted ceilings. Common design feature, technical term, cathedral ceiling, vaulted ceiling with a clerestory. Clerestory. That word has tripped me up a few times. Floors hardwood. Okay. Where should I look next? All right, back onto the hot tub. You almost want to get rid of these trees just so you can have more mountain, but I don't know. How do you feel about Colorado? I was pretty blown away the first one or two times I took that. I think it's Highway 70 that goes through the mountains and seeing the mountain range, but you get used to it pretty quickly. It's not like I haven't been to Hawaii, but I feel like I could enjoy Hawaii a little more. Certain parts of the desert, Utah, there's that repeating theme again. Vaulted cathedral ceiling and very small in a way that feels very perfected and secure. Is it only because it's $20 million that probably anytime something goes out of style that they're able to make it perfect? Or is this perfect design of the bathrooms, of the countertops and the kitchens, like are they changing these up every 5 years? Are they redoing it every 5 years or something? Or is it more timeless? Are they able to get it right in a way that is timeless? What do you think? It's almost every single room has this small vaulted ceiling. All right, wonder what that is. Maybe they have a steam or sauna steam room in there, maybe. Look at that lighting coming out of the floor. I love a hidden lighting that's coming out from behind something. You know, probably pretty good as a night light. Huh. You remember what I was talking about right here, where the shot was coming from here, showing that bad hallway, and that you could get rid of one of these. This is a bedroom, so I don't think you want open to the outside right here. Windows, yeah, some windows, but I wouldn't want to sleep in here. I would just be waking up thinking the sleep paralysis demon was out there. Or just, I don't know, maybe some parts of the summer when it's warm, it's like fentanyl zombie season out there, you know? What are we looking at with this? How is the angle of this not a right angle, just in this one spot? Even though beautifully chosen composition and color for the rest of the home. A lot of people get it wrong when they hang a picture. Could be a little wider. I'm also a fan of like 3 panels, 3 frames in line with each other when you have a nice wall like this, but very good, very minimal. You don't need to know what it is. You can kind of assume what it is, pots of some flowers or just a picture. And these couple few here, placed here, here, and here. Totally different color, different colors, different theme, different everything from everything else around there in the house. But as an addition to everything else that's going on, it adds something. It does not clash. It does not tax your system to see it and experience it. Is this a rug that they just put on top of this hardwood floor? It's so well chosen. You can almost feel like it is actual carpet they added on here, you know. The texture of these lines to have this corduroy groove in that carpet fits so well. And this might be the one room without a vaulted ceiling. Oh, because this is a second story, bottom floor of a second story, right? Large bathroom on this first floor as well. Not much for big living room, like big, do I want to say, not man cave, but large entertainment, large living room. But now we're in the basement of the back house. Maybe this will be the big living room area. But, you know, for $19 million, I think you want one large living room. Oh, clicking on the AI, asking the AI. Huh. Nice plane on the mountains. Photos back there look like a question and an IQ test. The second one here is too different, too disruptive to the flow. What is that game back there? Is that like the game where you slide the discs and try to bump someone off and get closer to be within a circle? I think, is it something like bocce ball, but where you have the things that slide on a smooth surface? Do you know what that game might be called? Asking the AI about it. Maybe it has an answer. Boccia. I'm not sure that's what it is, but it's similar. What does Firefox say about it? Boccia ball. It's like curling in the Olympics, where they send those things. Really fun game. But I don't know, a lot of commitment to have that take up that much space, and we're a little strapped, a little limited with space. in this home. Exactly what that is. Hard to tell where that is. Beautiful light fixture. I still want to see a shot of this hallway. Nice fur there. Piece of fur for the tie-in back to the mountains and mountain town life. More hidden lights under here. A lot of bathrooms in this place. And where are they putting all these bedrooms? This doesn't feel like, just from looking at how small this looks, doesn't feel like 3,700 square feet. A place where they could have all these bathrooms and bedrooms. I wonder if there's something like very, because it's only this and this. And there's our hallway down there, but it feels like it's not, there's like opening there, kitchen there, dining room here, dining room there, bedroom there. So I wonder if a lot of that is in the basement. I wonder if there's more. If I want to look at that. Something else I've been thinking about lately. The hypothalamus. And this has to do with health. Being healthy. The hypothalamus. There's something where how do I broach this topic and get into it? The hypothalamus, the situation when you're eating glucose, there are only a few ways to get this process for the hypothalamus. It's called the hypothalamic glucose sensing via K-ATP channels. So if you have Yukon potatoes or those red skin potatoes and they have a little bit of a waxiness to them, and it's the same with oatmeal, similar mechanism. Their potatoes digest slowly just because of the structure of the cells, don't break down quickly like russet potatoes, Idaho potatoes, or French fries break down slowly. So you're getting this slow, steady, continuous stream of glucose. And oatmeal, because oatmeal has so much fiber, also breaks down slowly. But it is not common in most of the foods that we eat that it gives us this relief to the hypothalamus, which the hypothalamus, if it's not getting that steady stream, steady supply of glucose, your energy is inhibited, your dopamine is inhibited, and dopamine is motivational, or gives you motivation, gives your brain permission to burn energy. So you see people, you see them in traffic, you see them at work, you see their doomerism and their oh God, what now? What next? I don't want to. Please don't. Why me? Type of attitude. And it's interesting. It's actually something that you can overcome. You don't have to eat a lot. Maybe like 2 smaller sized potatoes or half a cup of oats. And then you can have this process. It's a specific process that I can get the AI to go line by line to what the process is, but if you're not in this mode, you're in a scarcity mode, and you're in this scarcity mode, not wanting to exercise, use energy, not feeling optimistic, feeling more paranoid, feeling more like you are, oh, I just need an opportunity. When I get the opportunity, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get the food. I'm going to feel all right. It's going to be all right. So you're in that mode, and you're not feeling like expending energy does not feel good, because most of our ancestors, 2 billion years of life, tree of life, all those ancestors from I think most of that time was single cell, and then going on from the ocean creatures coming out of the ocean, whatever those ancestors, food was scarce, calories were scarce. So being in that mode of scarcity and glucose being scarce, just the fact that we have this pathway or a type of on-off switch, and I don't know, I feel like that's kind of interesting, compelling, little bit content or bit of information, something you might not know. I didn't know it. I was just poking around at different types of foods, talking to the AI about it, and it told me about this in the last few days. I've been feeling it. I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but it feels like it works. And with oats, with something like oats, like doing a half a cup or a full cup of oats dry, which ends up being quite a bit of oats, is something I've tended to avoid, to not get, not taking in so much oats. It feels like there are better options for things to take in than that much grain. But having a little more oats, having 2 fairly, like baseball sized red skin potatoes, you really do feel it. You feel a sense of like satisfaction, equanimity, and a kind of carpe diem, I can do it, let's do it type of feeling. And so I see that people are not satisfied in general out there. It's getting worse. There's good reason for it. But the fact that you can get that feeling just from a few potatoes or some oats. And I'm gonna talk about 3 more. There's 3 more things that I think on that topic of health and good feelings that I could share or go into. The second one I'll get into is palate fatigue. Palate fatigue. Palate fatigue. And this is something like all the food producers, all your, like whether it's junk food producers or gourmet food or in between, or, like growing up, your parents had probably just a certain amount of meals in rotation. And then when you went to the friend's house and you had something that was like one of their best things that parent knew how to make when you were a kid, and it's just mind-blowing how good it is. It's because you're overcoming the palate fatigue, which You know the feeling. It's the same sense of listening to a song too many times, or oh, this is my favorite movie. I'm going to watch my favorite movie again. I've watched a repeat of this movie before. I'm going to watch a repeat again. I'm going to listen to the song again. It's going to be good. And then it's like, so what? I don't hate it, but not that good. So palate fatigue, overcoming palate fatigue, in addition to dealing with this. And can I give my advice? Is that too annoying to give advice on the internet or a how-to? But palate fatigue, pretty simple. Things go on sale. You walk into the supermarket. The grapes are on sale because they're in season. The watermelon is on sale because it's in season. And different combinations, you know. So that's the second one. And I'm not just talking about like feel-good tricks to overcome the brain. These are things that, you know, people are diseased. People are overweight. And not just overweight, but eating that junk, that processed food, just to get that satisfaction when you could be getting it from overcoming palate fatigue. You could be getting it by doing what was the word again? Hypothalamic glucose sensing via KATP channels. So instead of from junk food, instead of from processed food, instead of from added sugar and added oil. So you have added sugar and added oil on this one end. If that's a 0, which is added sugar, added oil, that's a 0. It's very bad because it's a high amount of calories, very low nutrients. What you could have on the opposite end is fruits and vegetables, which is a challenge to figure out how to deal with them, how to eat them. But having them, you're getting very dense, very high nutrients per calorie. Not very many calories. Not a lot of calories in wilted baby spinach. And not totally, I mean, they don't compete with added sugar and added oil. They don't compete with a deep fried Twinkie. But some wilted baby spinach with, you know, a little bit of tahini and some vinegar, you will definitely overcome palate fatigue if you've had it, because that's probably not something you have every day, but you can get satisfaction from that. So that was 2, palate fatigue and the continuous stream of glucose from red skin potatoes. The third would be to always have the umami flavor present. There are 5 major flavors: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami. These are some umami flavors in here. Sounds complicated, is complicated the word, or sounds exotic? It's a Japanese word, umami, but it's savory. If you've ever had the ramen noodle flavor packet, the chicken or beef flavor, and you eat that stuff and it has that very savory, kind of like Parmesan cheese, that's umami. It's glutamic acid. So having that in every bite, that's another way to get satisfaction and move away from the added sugar and the added oil. I see you. I mean, just go to the DMV, go to the Walmart. It's too much added sugar. It's too much added oil. If you're on that stuff, I don't want to judge. Hopefully this information is interesting. But tomato paste, that might even be peanut butter there. Maybe it's miso paste. But just remember, peanut butter and tomato paste because peanut butter can go with most fruits, tomato paste can go with most vegetables. So having those there, covering everything, almost everything in your supermarket produce section, which we said is high in nutrients, lower in calories, high in all the stuff that's really good for you, the phytochemicals, the polyphenols, water, vitamin C, the mixed greens, all the different. How many greens are there? There's bok choy, there's spinach, kale, chard. I don't think anyone says these things are bad for you or that people out there are getting enough, but that's the third one. You can look at more things that have this umami flavor, but just tomato paste and just peanut butter should be enough. And then if I go for the fourth general trick would be having fat contrast with sour as two elements in your meal. Fat is not a flavor. Salt is a flavor, but there's not good visuals on this. But to have some vinegars, learning the vinegars. If you hate vinegar, balsamic vinegar is a good one to start out with. Very sweet as far as the vinegars go. And when you move on, having that in your pantry along with some tahini, which is a sesame seed butter. So just doing a tablespoon of tahini, or even teaspoon tahini, teaspoon balsamic vinegar will make anything you're eating have more contrast to it. The fat, whether it's tahini or the avocado, will cover up your tongue, cover up the palate, cover up the food itself. Flavors are flavonoids. They're fat soluble. They get covered up by fat. So your palate is your tongue, and then through the roof of your mouth, olfactory system, your nose, the part of your nose behind your face. These are all food science things and expert food production things that I'm going through that food producers know. I don't think they know about this hypothalamus thing, but the other ones I mentioned, fat contrasted with sour, overcoming palate fatigue, and umami. But fat with sour, as I was saying, having fat, and that fat covers up the palate. When you have sour, that cuts through it, so you're getting a strobe sensation of flavors disappearing, flavors reappearing. Like a strobe or someone turning a light switch off and on is more interesting and eye-catching if you're walking down the street and you see a room in a house with a light turning off and on. It's it's not entertaining, but it's more compelling and interesting to look at. So you get that same effect. Having fat contrasted with sour in a meal, whatever's on your fork, having umami on your fork, and having a flavor in there that is overcoming palate fatigue. And then, so these are things. This is really the objective for health. I know this is not a Zillow stream or a house stream anymore, but this seems like knowledge only I am in possession in that I don't really ever see out there, not even from the longevity people or the health nut people. But you deploying these four things and getting that satisfaction, why it matters for food and for diet, because your bulk of what you eat, you don't have to count calories if you're eating produce, because the amount of calories and stuff like this is very limited. You'll be very full before you fill, before you stuff your belly with a lot of calories if this is what you're filling your belly with. So you can eat as much as you want if you just add more in there, and you will, be ripped and feel good and feel energetic. I don't think anyone, whatever your preference, whoever you are, I think most would want their vis-a-vis their potential romantic interest to have abs. You know what I mean? And you can do that with, if you're more centered on getting satisfaction from the supermarket, whatever you want to stick to now, whatever disgusting food or whatever your belief system of foods that you will never give up. At least if you're adding in more of these things and you're filling your stomach full of all of these, what can you say about, like, let me ask the AI, open image in new tabs. So look at this shelf full of produce and name all of the more common nutrients that are in these foods, and then name the things that might be more exotic, like the polyphenols or the sulforaphane and other things like this that are unique to foods, produce like this. So I'm a little bit at a loss to describe all this stuff. Maybe the AI can help me out a little bit with that. Polyphenols, I said that. Antioxidants, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin C. So getting all this stuff, it doesn't hurt your mood, your gut, your neurotransmitters, and then being in shape and not overdoing it, taxing, racking your system with straight up food with white sugar added and oil added, you know what I mean? So having these, getting more of these down. Point that I'll end on is like sleep, diet, and exercise is your foundation for health, and sleep is just something you do or you don't do. It involves like saying no to the TV, saying no to whatever is going to prevent you from getting into bed at like 10 o'clock, 10:15, and then for you to quietly drift off by 11. As long as you get into position, and then like these are of these three: sleep, diet, and exercise. Sleep is something you do or don't do. Exercise is an even simpler thing you do or you don't do. No one would say that exercise is really necessarily easy or fun, especially if you're off work and situated and on the couch, getting up and going out. Not really fun or easy, but definitely simple. You can go from the state of not exercising to exercising just by tyranny of will very easily, even easier than you can from going to awake to asleep. But either one, you're still just doing simple things. But when it comes to diet, those 4 things I named are not as obvious and not as simple, and cultivating the skill to have umami, fat and sour, overcoming palate fatigue, which would involve learning how to eat new things like this in new ways, is going to be a bit of a challenge. And let's see, there's some Yukon potatoes down there, so that part's easy. But really my point is that when it comes to health, and 96% of people say that they want to become more healthy when they're asked if you could be more healthy, is how they respond. But it's really diet and getting good nutrients per calorie, really getting more fruits and vegetables into your belly, like pounds of them every day, is the hurdle, like is the only thing that you have to overcome. That is a challenge, because it's not only that eating and getting food and being satisfied, which were the things why I brought those up, that it gives you more satisfaction without a cheap trick of added sugar and added oil, but it's that diet has the property also that diet and food, when it's bad food or junk food, that it changes how food feels, how good food doesn't feel like anything anymore if you become addicted to junk food. Like a salad that you could be fine with, like that you could add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, chopped up, something here, something there, avocado, good vinegar. Like you can assemble a salad that is okay, especially once you get a little more used to it and know what you like. But if you add a salad dressing that has a lot of oil and a lot of sugar in it, very dense calories. Remember we talked about stomach capacity and the ceiling of calories per weight per unit of volume. Sugar, you can fit a tremendous amount of calories into a very small space if you're adding sugar, if you're adding oil. And then your tastes, if you use a salad dressing that has a ton of oil and sugar, then your tastes have become acclimated to getting that blast of calories. So when you go back to the salad again, the next time you're going to be feeling like you're eating styrofoam. It's not going to have that same savoriness or satisfaction. And that is a unique aspect of diet that you would need to overcome in order to be healthy. Because you can't fix bad diet with exercise unless you want to exercise. Like if you want to put on an extra 1,000 calories with added sugar and added oil and you want to exercise that off, that could easily take you like 3 hours, 3.5 hours worth of exercising to burn off an extra 1,000 calories. And most people aren't doing that. Even people that you see in the gym or people that are out jogging that are overweight, God bless them, they're not exercising enough to burn off that extra amount of calories. And those extra calories are hidden into everything, and they're putting them into more and more things as the decades go on. So it's that point, it's that special aspect of added sugar and added oil distorting your taste and making the thing that was good now not taste like anything, and the bad thing tasting better, and to even add even more sugar and more oil to it and making it even worse and making it taste even better. That is a unique aspect to health and your challenge of being healthy, having a healthy diet that you don't get with sleep. Like bad sleep, if your sleep was bad last night, you're probably going to feel more tired and you're probably going to get more deep sleep tonight. But if you got no sleep last night and you get no sleep tonight, suddenly when it's time for good sleep to feel good, it will feel good. It will feel like getting a good night's sleep will feel better than a night's sleep you've had all month. I don't know how many, if you've ever gone 2 days without sleeping, but you have gone 2 days of bad sleep. And eventually when you do get sleep that is like that catch up, recharge, whatever, 10 hours, 12 hours of sleep, it feels good. It doesn't feel like nothing. So you see the analogy between good sleep, bad sleep, good food, bad food. The bad sleep does not make good sleep feel like nothing, whereas the bad food makes the good food feel like nothing and make you want more of the bad thing. So this addiction aspect of food is the biggest challenge, the one that I see out there. So that's why I throw my 2 cents out there, having that, should I go through them again? One more again, the hypothalamus. And I've argued with the AI about this a lot, that it's red skin potatoes and it's oats, and it really doesn't seem to be very much else. And maybe sweet potatoes, but they look back at Neanderthals and very, very early human settlements that they have been eating these things for a long time. So these are foods that somehow, some way, for some reason, that this is what dopamine and usage of energy and giving the green light and the ease, the sense of satisfaction and ease and contentment of the peace, do they call it peace of mind, that you would get that mainly from these two. Then the other one, overcoming palate fatigue. The watermelon you're going to have this summer is going to taste better than anything you've had in a while, because you probably haven't had a good watermelon since last summer, even if you did have any last summer. So overcoming palate fatigue, having umami, a bite of umami on your fork with everything, along with fat, a little bit of avocado or tahini or even hummus, fat, those 3 things I named, along with a contrast of some vinegar or some lemon juice, lemon on there too. So that's my 2 cents on that. Something I wanted to get off my chest. I know it's not in the proper format. I don't know. How do you feel about that? But that's about that. Okay, goodbye.